What is up, guys? It's Kamani J. Lee, and we're over halfway through Big Brother 27. And this season's been quite messy. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the house guests who I think are the most likely to win Big Brother 27. This video is being filmed on Wednesday, the 27th of August, with the most recent house guest evicted being Riley. Thank fucking God. And in one day's time, either Kelly, Catherine or Ava will be evicted from the Big Brother house. But the big question is, who are the contenders of this season? Now, the first person I would like to say is a true contender is by far my most risky choice. We have Keanu. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Keanu is playing a pretty bad game. I mean, just this last week, he's been playing particularly poorly. But if anybody on this cast was going to comp out and get to the end, I think it's Keanu. I know he's not been winning comps in the last 2 weeks, but every single week he's been nominated, except for kind of week 2, he has won a comp. And even still, I think Keanu wins the blockbuster in week 2 if he was there. I think picking Keanu though is kind of risky. He did just burn his relationship with Rachel recently. But I just feel like if Keanu gets anywhere near the endgame, I'm sure he probably does win a lot of comps in the endgame. But one of the main reasons I'm choosing Keanu for this list is he did go week 6 and week 7 pretty much not being targeted. And I think if he continues this, which it's Keanu, I'm not the most confident this is going to happen. But if he somehow manages to continue this, I think Keanu does potentially just win nearly every single comp in the endgame. And I think there's a pretty good chance that the jury will respect him needing to comp out, though being targeted. But I think the jury will be like, how did Keanu get to final 2? But at the end of the day, it is Keanu. I don't think Keanu is probably going to win this season, but I think if Keanu does survive like the next 2, maybe 3 weeks of this season, I think Keanu is a very likely contender to be sitting in the final 2 potentially. But still, again, there is a world where Keanu's poor gameplay with winning comps could make him lose a jury vote. Because yeah, if Keanu does win this season, I think Keanu will be a pretty bad winner of the game. With the only positive to really say about Keanu's game is his comp ability. And overall, I think Keanu could win. I just don't even know, to be honest. This season is very messy. Now, the next person I'm considering a true contender to win Big Brother 27, this was pretty influenced by Boston Rob. It's Captain Will. I think Will is in a pretty good spot with the judges, with one of Kelly or Catherine leaving this week. I think that puts Will in a genuinely good spot. I'm pretty much banking on Will making it to top 5, top 6. But I think the main qualm I have with Will is his comp ability. I generally don't know if Will is just throwing every single comp. I know he's throwing some, but at the same time, Will is not the best at comps. I mean, look at this. But anyway, Will is in a pretty good spot in the house. He has a decent backing with the judges, and he's not being targeted by anybody. He is one of the most liked people in the house right now, and he's kind of considered a bit of a voice of reason. He's been playing the game also particularly well, being one of the main people to get Catherine nominated. I think Will is in one of the best spots short term. I think he's near guaranteed to get to jury, and I think he's pretty likely to get it to the end game. I think he's one of the most well-positioned people in the house and also pretty well insulated in the judges. I think this week is going to be very good for him having one of Kelly or Catherine leave the game. But one big problem with him is I think he might be a target near endgame, and I'm not the most sure about his win equity. I know he beats some people, but I don't think he beats everyone. I think he will struggle against a decent few people. Now, I think the house likes him, but I don't think they view him as a big player, a big strategic force in the game. Well, I think he's playing one of the best games. I think he's pretty competent at the game. I think the house doesn't see that though. I think the main thing Will needs to do is be more active in the game. I don't think he needs to be active right now, but I think later down the line, maybe during the jury phase, I think he needs to be a little bit more active. And overall, I think Will is definitely going to make a deep run on this season. I'm not quite sure on how he's going to do in the end game, but I can guarantee he'll probably get there. Now, the next true contender I have for Big Brother 27 is the current head of household of filming this video. It's Vince. Now, something weird about Vince is I don't usually have him around the middle of my power ranking. He's either towards the top or towards the bottom. When he was nominated and at the start of the game, he was kind of lurking near the bottom, but then sometimes he goes pretty high on my power ranking, even to number 1. I think when Vince is in power, he's kind of bad. In both week 1 and now, he's made some pretty big mistakes. This week, especially when it comes to the renorm. With Vince constantly changing his mind between Rachel and Catherine and making it pretty clear to Rachel that she was a potential renorm, so nominating Catherine kind of is the worst of both worlds. Another problem is Vince is kind of at the bottom of the judges. Vince is kind of building a perception that he was tricked into making moves, so his win equity is potentially questionable. Now, I think Vince is not a target right now. I think Vince is pretty safe at the moment. I think he probably will eventually be targeted, but I could still see a way Vince does get through it. Vince isn't even bad at comps either. He's won 2 HOHs this season so far. And Vince is in the majority right now and has been the swing vote at rounds such as the Riley and Adrian vote. Vince also does have a very loyal ally in Morgan who wants to take Vince very deep into this game. And he also does have the judges. So overall, Vince is in a pretty decent spot in the house. Though he's made a couple mistakes and isn't playing perfectly, I think Vince is still pretty likely to get decently far into the game. He probably will be targeted eventually though. Now, before I get onto my final contender, I'd like to talk about a couple of honorable mentions. And the first one is Ava. I think Ava's in a pretty decent spot right now. Though she's nominated, I think she's staying come eviction night. And another honorable mention I have is Lauren, who Lauren has kind of made a few mistakes lately. Obviously, using the veto on Vince last season was pretty bad, but I think she's been playing a passive game and I think she'll get pretty deep. My biggest issue with her is win equity. And now, finally, my last true contender to win Big Brother 27 is Morgan. Which, firstly, I'm so glad she stayed against Riley. It was by 1 vote as well. Very close. Where for most of last week, I thought if it's a Morgan versus Riley scenario, Morgan goes. But no, she stayed, and I think it was from a last-minute flip against Riley. I think Morgan has played pretty well this week. She went from potentially going home to being in one of the best spots in the house. Firstly, she's in the judges, and I think she's pretty well insulated in the judges. I don't think she's at the bottom. And she also has a very close ally in Vince, who I do think is on the bottom of the judges, but still they're very loyal to each other. And through Vince winning HOH, it gave Morgan a lot of power this week. Like a lot of the house thinks that Morgan was running Vince's HOH. Morgan's had a lot of influence this week. She was a big proponent of getting Catherine nominated instead of Rachel this week. Right now, Morgan is in the majority, and I don't think she's being targeted that hard by anybody. I think Riley leaving was genuinely good for her game. And another thing is, I think Morgan's win equity has gone pretty high this week. I think she does beat a lot of people in the house right now. I think it's very impressive that Morgan went from staying in a very close vote to being in one of the best spots in the house. So that's why I have Morgan as my final true contender for Big Brother 27. Now, I know this video is probably not the best because I don't really film videos like these. I'm not the biggest fan of filming audio, but if you would like to, I might film more content like this. I might do a review of Big Brother 27. Probably not a player ranking because I'm probably not the best source for that, but I probably will do a review of Big Brother 27. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I might make more content like this. You never know. And thank you for watching.